Hey folks, and welcome to my top games of 2021. Let's look at the games that didn't get into the top 200. And yes, I do love all these games. I wish they could all be in the top 100, but they can't. All right, so number 210 has been in my collection for 5 years. Started off in the top 100 for those first 2 years at 76 and 96, then dropped to 160 and 178. So now it's down 34 spots here. It is Homesteaders. I'll let you know this. This is an engine building game. It's an auction game. You're also building up your ranch to do special things. The tokens are amazing. The strategy is out the wazoo here. I have never, nor will I ever, win this game. I'm not the biggest fan of this game. Why is it in my collection? My board game group loves it, and they are good at it. And if you are brand new, you've never played a board game in your life, you will beat me at this game. I don't know why, I just cannot win it. I cannot win it. If you lose the first 3 auctions, like you didn't get a single thing because you were just too frugal, you're going to lose the game guaranteed. If you lose 2 auctions in a row, you will probably lose. There is probably a chance to win, but you're probably going to lose if you lose 2 in a row. You cannot lose that many auctions. And if everyone's being stupid with their money, you got to be dumber and go broke. Money is super tight in the game. But some players don't know that. They don't care, and they just spend all their money on their first or second round, and then they're struggling ever since. But you will do better than me. I always come in dead last, too. I don't even come in close second, either. The expansion did nothing for this game, just add a 5th player, some extra tiles, so it wasn't really that big of a deal. Like I said, I do like bringing it out, though, because I understand how the strategy works. I just can't get a working daggum ranch to work right. But everyone, because you're exchanging trade tokens for goods, and these goods for that goods, and this for that, and this for that to get this to get these points and whatnot to get extra money on your next round. So it's really neat to see how that engine building comes together, but I suck at it. But I think that's great because my gaming group knows there are some games I will dominate in that they play with me all the time. So it's only fair to bring out a game where they can dominate me. I don't mind. Maybe one day. If I ever, my goal for next year is to come in 3rd. All right, my number 209. Oh, this one hurts my heart. It was been in my collection for 3 years. It was in my top 100 at number 76. I discovered a awful issue with this game. Dropped it to 140 last year. It still hasn't been fixed, so it dropped 69 spots to 209. And get this, folks, I love the game. It's Vecchio. Vecchio is great. I love it. It's so simple. You basically have, I think, 4 different decisions, 4 actions to choose from every round. You're basically just trying to build up your family by getting certain tokens, cashing those tokens in, and giving them respected positions inside of the cities for victory points. That's it. That's all you're doing. When you activate a guy, you lay him down. One of your actions is to wake everyone up. Another action is to bring another family member onto the board. And I think that's it. Maybe there's just 3 actions. I don't know. But for some reason, this game will take 3 hours. AP. It happened with Valdora. I talked about this earlier in another video. But it happens with Vecchio, and I cannot stand it. Vecchio's got to be a next step game. I see it for super cheap. It is so much fun to play. If you play with a gaming group that sits there for 3 different decisions, what do you want to do? Oh no. How did you not know? What are you doing? Why is this so hard? I don't know why some of the simplest games. I mean, shoot, we can play Twilight Imperium and get it done. You can play 2 games of Vecchio or 1 game of Twilight Imperium and finish. Twilight Imperium will probably finish earlier with 6 players. It's just ridiculous. I don't know why Vecchio takes so long with my gaming group, but it does. I got a new gaming group, so maybe that won't be a problem because this should be a top 100 game for me. But it just kills me that we play this game and then we're done for the night because people just take forever making decisions on this. And it's not a brain burner, at least for me it's not. Number 208 is in its sophomore season. It started off at 154, so it dropped, just like a lot of games drop after the newness wears off. This one dropped 54 spots. A little brutal, but that's okay. First in field, First and Failed is a fun game where you're building up, it's engine building too, you're building up your player board to produce different resources, barley, I think it's barley, wheat, and or barley, hops, and water, whatever makes beer. And then you're selling those to different places to get money. And there's a market track that can move up and down depending on how much is being sold into each one of those places. And then with that money, you're getting upgraded tiles, or you're buying a monument. Monuments start off cheap but get more expensive as the game goes on, and monuments are how you win the game. Monuments are also things that eliminate areas on your player board, so you don't produce as much. So the closer you come to winning, the less production you're making. So, and then of course, like I said, the more monuments you're building, the more expensive they are. It's a great catch-up mechanism. My little nephew told me that this was one of his. I just kind of randomly asked him, was there any games that they'd put in their top 10? And he put First and Failed in there. He said, what was that beer making game we did? And I was like, oh, First and Failed. He's like, love that game. He went nuts over this game. I had played with my gaming group, and I think he came over one day and we played it, and he was just like, this is great. He lost, but he had a really fun time playing it. It is a fun game. Just now that it's not new on my list, it just moves down. Hey, speaking of new games, speaking of Queen games, let's go with another Queen Kids game here. It Happens. This is by Stefan Feld. People love Feld. No one mentions this game. This is an easy dice chucking game where you're trying to get majority on certain tiles to get tokens to win the game. My wife, I got this in a box of other games, and I was unpacking them. My wife looked at It Happens and looked at it and went, I played this one with you. I was like, really? She never says that. And she has. She's played it with me a couple of times, and we've had a fun time with it. It's a very simple game. It's a Queen Kids game. If you like Stefan Feld and you have a family, definitely pick it up. Definitely pick it up. It's so much. It is a lot of fun, but my wife will play it with me, which I'm kind of happy about that. Maybe she keeps playing it with me, it'll move up even more, but It Happens is a fun little game. My number 206 has been in my collection since the very beginning. For 6 years it's been around. For those first 3 years, it was my top 100. It started off at number 27. Because I didn't have that many games, I guess. Then it dropped to 36, then to 40, then it went down to 116. The first time it didn't make my top 100. And then last year, it did make the top 100. It came back in at 92, and I was like, yeah, it's back here to stay. And it free-falled 114 spots. Sons of Anarchy. Folks, this has got to be one of the most underrated games on my list, period. Underrated by far. Gale Force 9 did a great job with this. It's very thematic to the TV show, but even if you didn't watch the TV show, you would absolutely love this game. It's just biker gangs. You're trying to get guns to fend off or defend, kind of take over some territory from another gang to activate that tile. Or you're trying to get money, which is points in the game, or you're trying to get drugs, which you can sell for money later on. And it is an adult-rated game, so I kind of have problems bringing it all, bringing out some of the tiles to my little nephews when I play with them. But I can't get anyone else to play with me. Even my nephews have kind of cooled on this game. They're not very excited about playing it anymore. And people look at it and go, I never watched the show. Yeah, and I get that, but if it was just a generic like biker gang board game, I think people would play it more. I don't know. I'm really sad that not that many people appreciate this game. My wife is a huge Sons of Anarchy fan. This is her favorite show of all time. And she refuses to play the game. I don't know why. Maybe because she thinks I'll win. But I just love this game. And if I could get it to the table more, I'd put it back in my top 100. But it is going to be really hard to get to the table next year just because I can't find anyone to play it. Anyway, my number 205 is a brand new game in my collection. It is King's Forge. King's Forge is a lot of fun. You are using gobbling up these cards, then rolling the dice and using your cards to mitigate the roll, but then seeing what you can make with those type of die that you roll, because there are items on the board and you're trying to get the most points to win. It comes with a bunch of expansions, and when I reviewed it with all the expansions it had in it. I told you what I thought about the game. I thought it was a lot of fun, but I do think it's completely overpriced. Completely overpriced. Each one of those expansions should be probably only $10, maybe 15 tops, and they sell for 30. The base game sells for 50, and it should be $30 tops. I'd probably pay 25. It'd be a more fair price for it. The game doesn't suck. The game's fun. But when you're paying $50 for a base game, $30 for each expansion, and those dice aren't metal, I mean, I don't know what justifies that cost. They're just regular looking die. Again, it is fun. I do enjoy the game, but I had to rank it pretty low because I was disappointed on the price point. Now, I may have been a little too cruel to this game, but that'll only benefit it on its sophomore year when it comes back on my list, roaring with a vengeance. So if you can get King's Forge for cheap, get it. But if you want to buy it at cover price, run. It's not worth it. My number 204 is kind of a family game. It's called Yeti. And I can't say what is his last name. Let's see if I pronounce it here. No, I don't know how to pronounce that name. Benjamin something, and he's done. There's another game he has. I've really noticed him as a board game creator this year, and I've gotten a lot of games of his that I love already, and I got some more into my collection this year, and this is one of them that he created that I say, I'm going to give it a shot. It is another Yahtzee style game where you get to roll the dice 3 times. You're trying to get certain symbols on the dice to get certain points on the game to move up the track, and you're trying to follow. This is really cool. There's a Yeti on the track. It's not whoever gets the most points wins. Whoever can catch up to the Yeti on the score track wins. Yeti can move around the score track, and you'll have to keep going around the score track to chase him. And it's got this 3D little section that the higher you are on the mountain, the more points you can get. But it's hard to stay on that mountain. You need a lot of Sherpas to keep up there. But there's so much going on with this game. It is a family game. However, with my gaming group, they absolutely love this game. Dice chucking Yahtzee game. Fun theme Yeti. All right, number 203 has been in my collection for 3 years. Started off at 191, then went to 212. It has moved up 9 spots. I can't believe this because I called it a great mediocre game when I reviewed it. It's Rococo. Rococo's even gotten a reprint. It looks really nice and is supremely overpriced. But if you want to get it, go for it. People really like this game. I think it's an okay game. I think it's got a unique theme. One of the things I don't like about it is why would you hire anyone in the last or second to the last round? Because chances are you're probably going to use that card once or not at all. And those cards, even though they are kind of powerful, they're not that powerful. They're not worth wasting one of your precious actions, especially at the end of the game when you're trying to rush to get as many dresses completed as you can. There's no way you're going to sit there and buy someone. No one. In fact, a lot of the hire people will hire a few people at the very beginning, and then after the second or third round, no one hires anyone. No one hires anyone those last few rounds because it's really not worth it. The jewelry box expansion, which I think the deluxe edition comes with, is pointless too. It's very pointless. I'm trying to think of ways to make. I'm going to like slash the prices of it just to see if people will go there because it's not worth the reward. Now, upgrading some of your cards in the jewelry box expansion, that is fun, and some of us will do that. But, like I said, it's just, the game, it gets harped on all the time as one of the greatest games of all time. And when I played, I'm like, that was fun. It's not one of the greatest games of all time. It did move up on my list, but it's not in my top 200. So, like I said, maybe one day it will get back up in there, but I've never really considered it an awesome game. I made a big trade for this. I remember I was super excited to get it. And when I played it, I was like, it's okay. It's okay. Like I said, if it was $20, get it. Get it if it's $20. Anything above that, I wouldn't pay that much. But I do enjoy the game, Rococo. Number 202 has been in my collection for 4 years now. Start off at 111, dropped to 175, then dropped to 214. Oh, it just missed out on my top 200. And to be honest, it deserves to be in my top 200. but it's Garbage Day. Garbage Day is a great game where you're trying to bounce cards on a garbage lid, trying to clean up your room. When the garbage overflows, it'll fall over. If it's more than 10 cards that you've collected, you're out of the game. There's player elimination in there, but I still don't mind it. This game is so much fun to play, and we just don't get to play it as much as we used to. But the game, when we do play it, everyone's standing up, no one's touching the table, and we have to turn off the fan because we don't want anything getting those cards to waver. Now in the base game, we did get through all of our cards. We played all of our cards and ran out of cards in the game, and I was like, wow, I can't believe we did this. Now someone did end up losing because that last card he played threw all the cards over, but we didn't have any. No, they kept playing out their entire hand because we didn't have any more cards left. And that's when I got all the little expansions and shuffled them in there, and we'll never make it through that deck. But it is fun. Again, this one, it should be in my top 200, but it only got played once. There used to be times where we just sit here and play it all night at times. Don't underestimate this game. The artwork looks awful. It looks terrible, but the gameplay is there. It is so much fun. All right, and finally, my number 201. I told you this game would move up. It was one of the very last minute, I mean one of the last games I played a weekend before making my list. It was Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz was number 240 last year. It rose up 39 spots, almost got into my top 200, and maybe next year it will. I only got to play it once, but I did enjoy it a lot more. You have these secret goals you're trying to achieve, and then that's the first half of the game. Second half of the game, everyone knows your goals because you do a new draft of the same cards, just face up, and then you take a card face down, so you got a bonus goal too. And then some people know about the island during the first round because certain things have already been revealed. But if you don't see the path to victory in any of the revealed areas, you may explore one of those unexplored tiles to try to get victory points. It's a really sharp game. It looks beautiful. It plays well. Again, I played it a lot one weekend, and I didn't really know where to put it on my list, so I just threw it at the bottom, and I knew that was a mistake the moment I put it there. But it does go up a lot. I mean, 39 spots. That's great for any game, right? But it did miss out my top 200 because it only got played once. I just felt like I really wish I could play this game more. So maybe in 2022 I'll do that. All right, folks, what games made it in my top 200? Well, I'll see you next time and tell you.